What is going on, everyone? Week 2 of the preseason is here. The Houston Texans are welcoming the Carolina Panthers. Let me know if you're going to the game. Me and the boys, we're going to be tailgating like we do every single year. But guys, I am excited for this matchup against the Carolina Panthers because it gets us one step closer to week 1 against the Los Angeles Rams. Now, there was a joint practice yesterday with the Carolina Panthers, so I think that might determine the playing time on Saturday. With that being said, I'm going to tell you what I want to see from the offense, what I want to see from the defense. My name is Mr. 713. This is the 713 Houston Sportcast, where I drop daily Houston Texans content. Please make sure you guys are following me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok for the latest Houston Texans news, rumors, and updates. This episode is brought to you and powered by the Deck on Fountain View. That's where we are having our watch party for week 1 against the Los Angeles Rams. We already have almost 400 people let us know that they're going to be showing up. That is going to be absolutely crazy if that does happen, because that will be one of the biggest watch parties ever thrown by someone not named the Houston Texans organization. But let's move on to the game. The Houston Texans versus Carolina Panthers, week 2 of the preseason. What do we want to see? I think the same way I felt about the defense last week, I'm feeling about the defense this week. I don't want to see a lot from them. However, I am expecting some of the starters on defense to be out there. Because after practice yesterday, Will Anderson Jr. said that he wasn't pleased with the way the defense performed. Now, it wasn't like the Carolina Panthers offense was just marching up and down the field. The Texans couldn't stop them. No, the Texans definitely had their moments. But it wasn't as dominant of a performance as Will Anderson Jr. would have liked. And I love that, by the way. Expect the very best from a team that you're supposed to manhandle. But for the defense, I don't really need to see the starters out there. If they do go out there, I'm talking about maybe just 3 to 4 plays. I'm not even talking about drives. We are seeing, especially this year, a lot of players drop over the past couple of weeks. You got to be careful. I don't want to lose anyone significant on the defensive side during the preseason. That already almost happened with C.J. Gardner-Johnson. But if that is the case and the starters are all out there, man, shut down the Carolina Panthers offense. Get us a small taste of what this defense is going to be for this season. But nonetheless, whether it's the 2s, 3s, and 4s, I expect this Houston Texans defense to be swarming. Now, moving to the offense. The offense, I do want to see C.J. Stroud out there. Maybe a little bit of Nico and Christian Kirk. This is a new offensive line, new offensive coordinator, new O-line coach. Everything about this Houston Texan offense is new. So I do want to see C.J. Stroud go out there and have some success. Now, he had some success on Thursday's joint practice. Enough success to where we were saying the Houston Texan offense won the day today. Now, that's not saying just, that they were marching up and down the field, but they were winning more times than not. The offensive line. If Cam Robinson is not ready to go, and I don't think he will be, Ariante Ursary once again is going to get the start at left tackle. I want to see Laken Tomlinson out there, Jake Andrews, Ed Ingram, and Titus Howard at right tackle. I want to see this offensive line. I think the Panthers front 4 is respectable, and I think it could potentially, give this offensive line some work. Some work that I am looking forward to watching on Saturday, because on Thursday, those boys were going at it. I was impressed by the Houston Texan offense, kind of not collapsing, kind of what they did last year. No, these boys were going at it the entire practice. I want to see the offensive line do what they did last week against the Minnesota Vikings. Create just insane lanes for our running backs. Now, hopefully, Nick Chubb does get an opportunity to go out there and run the football. He had a big 40-plus yard run yesterday. Maybe he gets an opportunity to run the ball a few times against Carolina. And Nick Chubb is getting better as practice goes on. No surprise there. I feel like Nick Chubb is not a practice guy, but a game guy, if you know what I mean. When it comes to pass protection, right, if we're getting the ball out quick, just keep on doing the great job that you've been doing. Maybe we see a long development play and maybe we get to see this offensive line show off what they could do in pass protection. I would love to see that. If we start to see CJ Stroud on Saturday have opportunities and have time to throw the football, you're going to have a lot of Houston Texan fans feeling some type of way after the game. Well, hell, feeling some type of way immediately after. Because the notion is the same around Houston. We're an offensive line away from a Super Bowl. There's a reason Chris Sims said, it would not surprise me if this team is representing the AFC. Because everyone has their eye on the offensive line. And no one believes in this Houston Texans this season. We could shock the world, ladies and gentlemen, but it starts with the man up front. From Ariante Ursery, he had a rough go on Thursday. If he has a solid game, we're going to continue the conversation. Should you just try him out there at left tackle? You already know how I feel. Best 5, have him at right. But if he has another good game, especially a game in front of the crowd, and if he gets more love like he got last week, those conversations are going to start to get louder. Especially when someone like Tytus Howard could play both guard and tackle. Jake Andrews is going to have an opportunity, and Jared Patterson, to go against Derrick Brown, the defensive tackle from the Carolina Panthers. I don't want to see any pressure coming up from the interior. Yes, it's a preseason game. Yes, we're not worried about wins and losses, but you're looking at the little things. You're looking at the competition battles. And I always say this, guys win their jobs, guys lose their jobs in training camp and preseason. That's the beauty of it all. From our young pass catchers, let's see a little bit more production than last week. We barely got to see Jaden Higgins. We got to see Jalen Noel make a couple of plays. But Jaden Higgins, you know the Texans were just waiting to put out the graphic of him being drafted and all his highlights from Iowa State. So hopefully he gets an opportunity in front of the home crowd to make his presence felt. The tight end group. Dalton Schultz has secured tight end 1. But tight end 2, with Brevin Jordan being lost for the season, could Cade Stover, could Irv Smith, could Luke Lachey, could either of those guys potentially wow you and potentially be your tight end number 2? Dameon Pierce is going to have an opportunity to go on Saturday night. Now, Dameon Pierce, the conversation around him, it's turned back up. Because as much as I've been impressed by Nick Chubb, he hasn't really separated himself. You've heard Landry Locker and Cody Stute say, he shouldn't be a lock to make the roster. Dameon Pierce could go out there on Saturday, have a hell of a game, and once again, we're back into this Dameon Pierce conversation. What type of role? Where could we see him potentially be impactful for this Houston Texans team? We know he's good at kick return. This is why I love the preseason. The little storylines that are there. But ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, speaking of the game, me and the boys, we will be live streaming as always. We will try to be here 30 to 20 minutes before the game starts because like I said, we will be at NRG. We will be tailgating. Let me know where you guys are going to be at because that's one of the fun parts of the season. But my keys to the game, offensive line. CJ shot on this new offense. I want to see a scoring drive. And that's pretty much it. Stay healthy and keep that same, ferocity on defense. For more Houston Texans content, you guys know I don't know what to do. Feel free to follow me for more. Let me know your keys to the game at the bottom. Guys, I love y'all. See you Saturday if you go. Have a real blessed day.